everyone, this is Wilhelmina Simone, and this is going to be story time with my ex. The guy in the story's name is going to be Stranger, and the other girl in the story is going to be named Rose, and I will be myself. Stranger and I met on June 16th. I was with my friend Amanda, and I had already explained to her that I wanted new friends and to rediscover myself before my senior year of high school. We had just come from shopping, and we were walking down the street when one of my friends called my name across the street. Going across the street, I saw these two cute guys, and one of them tried to talk to me. And I was in the middle of the street with cars coming and everything because I'm retarded, and this guy yelled out, "Get out the street, sweetheart." And I thought to myself, yeah, he's right. I should really get out the street. I get out the street and I go to talk to my friend, and he comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, beautiful, can I get a few pictures with you so I can stun on the gram?" Smooth. And I was like, sure. Kind of creepy, but sure, why not? It's a compliment. So all of his friends started to take pictures of us, and I asked, "Can I see?" And he goes, "No, only if you give me your number so I can send them to you, then you can see the pictures." I thought it was the corniest thing in the world, but I gave him my number, and we talked that whole night. From the next day on, I was with him every day during that summer. I clicked with him instantly. It was the first time a guy wanted me just as much as I wanted him. We spent every day and every night together. And then one day he just introduced me to his family as his girlfriend. I was Stranger's girlfriend. He didn't ask me, he didn't tell me. I already knew, but it felt good to be wanted. Later on in our relationship, our differences started to show. I was more introverted. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't like to party. I didn't want to do drugs. I didn't want to be out late at night. And since he was 21 at this time, that's all he wanted to do. But that didn't really prepare me for the big problem in our relationship, which was Rose. Rose was his ex-girlfriend. Rose was also his ex-best friend's baby mother. Rose they were a trio, the Three Musketeers, Stranger, Rose, and Boy X. Boy X and Rose were together and they had a child. So he was almost like the third wheel. Let's say Stranger was the third wheel. Rose left Boy X to be with Stranger, and that killed their friendship, and then she left Stranger again to go be with the father of her child. Stranger never wanted to delete the pictures of Rose out of his phone or the pictures of her child out of his phone, and it made me feel really insecure. Like, why do you still have pictures of your ex? It also hurt me to know that he still talked to her on a daily basis, every night at crazy hours. One day, I said, either you delete those pictures or you lose me. He deleted the pictures, and for some reason, he called Rose to speak to me. That conversation didn't go well because she told me that they're always going to be best friends and no one's getting in between that. And I will never get in between their relationship, even if they're not together romantically. Later on in our relationship, we continued to have problems with his drug use and me not wanting to deal with it. But I loved and adored him. He was my first boyfriend, my first love, so I dealt with it. Later on, he told me that Rose would be coming back. She had lived in Georgia with the father of her child. And he told me, "I'm seeing her no matter what you want or what you think." I told him, "If you see her, then we're done. Why would you need to see your ex-girlfriend? Why would that even make sense?" And then one day he just turned off his phone. I couldn't find him. I had no idea where he was for 42 hours. I asked my friend if I could use her phone so I can check his Instagram, because at the time I did not have any social media. And all I see is a picture of them laying down together and the caption saying, "Reunited and it feels so good." It broke my heart. I forgave him though when I confronted him, and he reassured me that they were just friends and only friends. After that, I went to a Jason Derulo concert for my internship, and I get a call from my boyfriend stranger. I said, "Hey babe, who are you with?" And all I hear in the background, "Me bitch, he's with Rose bitch, me," and her laughing at me, and him staying silent. She's calling me bitch, she's laughing, she's saying all sorts of things to me, and he says nothing. And he just lets it happen. I'm furious, I'm crying, I'm in the middle of New York City wanting to kill someone, and he's just silent on the phone. I hang up, I call his aunt, and she tells me to leave him alone, so I do, and I give us some time apart. We agreed to meet up later so we could talk about our relationship and to work on things. I asked if I could see his phone because I had trust issues with him. He gives me his phone with the most guilty look on his face. And I take his phone, and before he can snatch it back from me, I run to the bathroom, lock the door, and read his phone. The messages that he had between him and Rose. And all I remember seeing was, her saying to him, "I don't think it's fair to your girlfriend that we're intimate with each other and we're having sex and she doesn't know." And him replying, "What she doesn't know won't hurt her because I'll always run back to you no matter what." I blacked out. I threw his phone to the wall, and I remember just wanting to kill him and me ending up with a fractured hand. The next day, I forgave him because just because someone has sex with someone else while you're in a relationship doesn't mean that they don't love you. Cheating doesn't mean that the person doesn't love you. That's what I thought at the time anyways. I forgive him, and we come back together on our 5-month anniversary on November 16th. Later that night, he brings me home. We had one of the best nights that I can recall. He brings me home, he kisses me on the forehead. I go to sleep. 3 hours later, it's 3 in the morning, and I get a call on my phone from Rose's phone number. I pick up, not thinking, I was half asleep. He called to tell me that he loves her and only her, and that he's only in love with her, and that he used me to fill a void, and that he needs to be with her, and that he's sorry. I cried that entire night. Why would you call me on our 5-month anniversary after we just shared a loving night together and loved each other in every way, to tell me that you only used me to fill a void of another girl who was gone? The next day after he called me, he comes to my job to say sorry and to forgive him and that he made a mistake. I tell him to leave me alone, only to later speak to him that night and forgive him and agree to still come to his Thanksgiving dinner. A week or so later, it's Thanksgiving. I'm at his house with his loving family, who they all warmed my heart. I was welcomed with open arms. He started acting funny that night. I don't know why. I think he was on drugs, and I felt sick. Rose's best friends come over on Thanksgiving, and I feel uncomfortable, insecure. I don't know what's going on. I'm not really sure what's happening. Why are her friends here tonight with me? He must be out of his damn mind. But I felt sick, so I couldn't really say anything. I go to sleep. He goes to sleep next to me. He wakes me up in the middle of the night to say, "Hey babe, I'm gonna go outside to smoke." I didn't really care. I go back to sleep, only to wake up maybe 15 minutes later with his family yelling, "Why would he do that to her? She's such a sweet girl. Why would he?" I wake up, I put on my clothes, and I have this bad feeling. The only thing that could happen right now is that Rose came to his house. That's the first thing I thought. She's here. She has to be. I look outside to see Rose and Stranger arguing with each other. Her slapping him across the face, them running up and down the block, arguing. I put my clothes on and I dash out that door. I am trying to fuck him up and fuck her up. That's all I wanted to do was fuck him up and fuck her up. I was going crazy. Like, there's no way you invited me here on Thanksgiving night and her. And the first thing I said to her, where's your child? It is 3 a.m. on Thanksgiving night. Where is your child? Why are you here chasing a boy knowing he's in bed with another girl? Why would you do that? That made no sense to me. But his parents wouldn't let me out the house. They wouldn't let me say anything to him. They didn't want me to say anything to her. I was speechless. I continued to cry and bitch and watch him out the window talk to her and speak to her. At some point, he looks at her and he looks at me to look back at her and kisses her on the mouth. And after he kisses her, he looks at me again to show me that he had made his choice. Later, after me crying his grandmother's arms about why would he do this to me and being so heartbroken, that Stranger and Rose get in a cab together and leave. And I watch him get in a cab with her and drive down the street from his window. I guess that's when my heart just broke, because why would you just leave me in your room on Thanksgiving night with another girl? After that, his parents brought me home. I blocked his number, blocked his house number, blocked his family's number, changed my number, and decided to just pick myself up by my bootstraps and move on. He had nothing that I could ever want at this point. He would email me and call me from different numbers because he found out my number somehow. He would come to my job looking for me and try to get in contact with me. And I would just ignore him and run away. I didn't want to be with someone like that. How can you hurt me so much, so many times, and go between me and another girl and still come back to me? One night I'm venting to my good friend Nathan about the situation at hand, and he goes to me, well, Karma got that nigga back good because she's pregnant. What? Rose is pregnant? My heart broke. I could take being left for another girl. I couldn't take me being left for another girl and him getting that girl pregnant. Later on that week, he reaches out to me because he said he wanted advice. I didn't realize that the only advice that he wanted was on his child. I gave in and reached back out to him. He told me that he didn't want to keep it. He didn't want it. How could he take care of himself, Rose, her child from another man, and his child by himself at 22? This is 5 months after Thanksgiving. He can't handle that. He doesn't have a stable job. He's not in school. He can't take care of 4 people by himself, and only one of those people is his child. Another child is by another man and her. He can't handle all that responsibility. He'd rather be with me and stress-free. I have less baggage. I don't have any kids. He was my first boyfriend, my first love. I don't have any broken hearts in my closet. I told him I couldn't be with him if he had a child with her. And he said, fine. A week or 2 later, he tells me that she's getting an abortion. And he FaceTimes me the next day or so, and I'm like, where are you? He's like, I'm waiting for Rose to get out the clinic. The clinic? Wait, she's getting an abortion right now? Yes. He FaceTimed me while his girlfriend Rose was getting an abortion. Right then I should have known that he was evil and he had no care in the world or sympathy for anyone. To FaceTime his ex while the girl that he left his ex for is getting an abortion. But, playing stupid, I was actually more happy and relieved that he did that. It made me feel like I won, that I got him back. I gave him a time limit on when he should break up with her. A woman getting an abortion is an incredible burden to bear, and no one should ever go through that alone. He listened and he broke up with her, or I thought he broke up with her in the time limit that I gave him. I'm happy we're working on things, and then one day he picks me up in his car, or his car. I'm not sure where this car came from because he didn't have a car. And I asked him, because the car looked vaguely familiar, is this Rose's car? He said, no, why? It's Bob's car. Why would it be Rose's car? He drives me to work and he goes to the back. He goes, come here. I said, for what? He goes, have you ever had sex in the back of a car? And I was like, no, I haven't, but I want to. And me being stupid, I almost went to the back until I looked down and I see a woman's purse that's not my own. I look inside and it's Rose's driver's license. Picture of her right there with her name right there. And I turn back and I say, stranger, are you sure this isn't Rose's car? He goes, no, babe, what are you talking about? And I go, so why the fuck is her license in here? He looks dumbfounded. He doesn't know what to do. I just get out the car and go to work. But I stayed with him. I played a fool. He later tells me that he has been cheating on me with Rose again. That he never left her. And that he's sorry. And that he had to get it off his chest. And I start crying. I don't feel heartbroken. I feel more of a numbing sensation for myself, for me letting him do this to me again. And I tell him, call Rose. There's no way you're going to break my heart and not break hers. That's not fair to me, and it's not fair to her not to know. He calls Rose. He tells her that he's been cheating again. And the first thing she says, and I can hear her yelling through the phone, I'm coming to fuck you up and I'm coming to fuck her up. You and her, I'm fucking both of you up. The stranger tells me to leave before she comes, and I said, no, I'm going to confront her. I don't want to fight her. I just want to confront her and talk to her. Because you're the one doing this, not me, not her. She proceeds to bring her friend and her sister, and they get out the car, and he's like, go home. And I said, no, I'm going to talk to this girl. And Rose gets out the car and she tells her sister, fuck that bitch up. Rose starts attacking stranger. Her sister starts attacking me. His parents came out. It was a very big deal. I don't think I fought anyone. I don't really remember getting hit. I think she scratched me because I had blood coming down my face. And his dad pulled me back inside and cleans up my face and the blood on my face, and I'm crying. Why would he do this to me? I didn't do anything wrong. Why did she hit me? Why did she hit me? And he said, stop crying. It's not you. Go home and move on. You don't deserve this. And I told his father, I'm done. You don't have to worry about me anymore. And he says, I hope so. Later after that, I ignore him. I ignore all his texts and his calls. And I start to get over him. My heart's too broken to deal with a man like this. A boy like this. And then one day I get a call from Rose. And she says, is this Wilhelmina? And I go, yes. She goes, this is Rose. I'm like, I know who this is. I know who this is. And me and her spoke for about 2 hours about what he told her and what he told me, and we said everything, we put everything out on the table. And that's when I realized that I should never get involved with a man like this. And then, me being petty and me being as salty as I was, I said, you should pick me up and we should go confront him, me and you. He can't lie to you and he can't lie to me if we're both there. She agrees and she picks me up and we're in the car. I call my best friend Chantel because there's no way I'm going to be in the car with Rose by myself to confront stranger. So I pick my friend up and we're going to go find stranger. We all agreed that me and Chantel are going to hide in the the trunk of her car while she picks up stranger and drives off into a secluded location so he can't run away or leave. So we drive to his house and we go to pick him up, and me and Chantel are in the back. We're in the trunk of this girl's car. And before stranger gets in the car, she goes, I hope, to be honest, this isn't going to break us up. I'm thinking this girl's absolutely crazy. I told her how he was on FaceTime with me while she was getting an abortion. I told her everything he told me about her, and she still wanted to be with him. How he had me in her car and everything. Stranger gets in the car. He admits to everything he said about her to me. She drives off to a secluded location. She starts arguing with him. They both get out the car. He has her pinned up to the car door. The plan was for her to open the back trunk so I can get out. She had a minivan. And all she's yelling is, Wilhelmina, find a way to get out of the car. Wilhelmina, get out of the car. Wilhelmina, get out of the car. So adrenaline just rushed through me, and I jump out from the back seat to the front. I don't know how, and I get out of the car. And he's shook. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to feel. He's just looking at me, her, and then he sees my friend Chantel, and he's dumbfounded. He's caught. And I'll never forget how he dropped to his knees, put his hands down his throat, his fingers down his throat to force himself to throw up, because he said he was on too many drugs to know what's going on. He said he's too high for this. He had to throw up all the pills and everything that was in his system, and that he had been rolling in Xanned out for 3-4 days now, and he couldn't comprehend what was going on, so he just kept making himself throw up. Me and Rose both confront him, but the only thing that I confronted him about was the lie that he told Rose. He told her that I had been pregnant and that he told me to get an abortion because he didn't want me to have his child, to make her feel better about her deciding to get an abortion. He lied on my unconceived, unborn child. I was never pregnant, so I never got an abortion. But he lied to make another girl feel better about herself at the cost of my unborn, unconceived child. That was the only thing that disgusted me. Not the cheating, not him having sex with another girl, not him going back and forth between us, but lying on a child that I had never had, never conceived. Rose is crying. I'm upset. And all she asks, she's asking him, me or her, if you have to choose me or her. And he's the dumbass to say, I would have chose Wilhelmina. If I would have known all this would happen. Rose blacks out. She starts hitting him. She starts fighting him. She has him on the floor. She's stomping him out. Chantel and I had to rip her off of him. And at some point, stranger takes her, lifts her up, and body slams her on the concrete. And she's looking at me like, me and you were supposed to both fight him. We're supposed to be both fucking him up. And I'm just like, yeah, I wasn't really expecting this to go like this. I'm so sorry. And he asks me and Rose if we can sit down, Indian style, and talk things out, and kumbaya, and meditate. That's when I knew he was still high. And since she was okay with that, I knew she was crazy. Chantel talks me out of the situation and says we should just go home. You need to forget about him. You need to move on. This is stupid. This is toxic. He's literally toxic. I listen to her. I get in a cab and I go home. A week later, I remember that half of my stuff is at his house and I have to get it somehow. I call him. Hey, I just need my stuff. I don't want to get in between you and Rose. I just want my stuff back. And he agrees to meet up with me to give me my stuff back. During that meeting, he asked me why was I so hurt, and we just vented to each other. And I told him the only thing that hurt me was him lying on my unborn child, and that it was never just me and him. It was always me, him, and Rose, or him and Rose, but it was never me and him. And that I never had him all to myself. I never got to experience all of his love or him only loving me. I never got the chance to have him. I was in love with someone who was in love with another girl, and I never experienced his love fully. We take a walk to this beautiful landscape area, and he sits me down and he goes, I want to be with you. I just want to be with you. I don't want to be with Rose. Seeing how beautiful you are today just made me realize how much I should just be with you. And he asked for my help to break up with Rose so he can spare her feelings. And like the fool that I am for this boy, I agreed. Later on, I realized that he's just doing the same old trick. So me and Stranger go back and forth between each other about what to do about our relationship. And then one morning, I get a text from Rose, from his phone. Hey Wilhelmina, it's Rose. We just had sex. He hasn't changed. I reply with a simple, I didn't expect him to, and I didn't expect you to either. From that day on, I just refused to speak to him. Why would I? Why did I need to? He's obviously going back and forth between me and this girl. He left me on Thanksgiving. He got this girl pregnant. He's lived with this girl. He FaceTimed me while she was getting an abortion. He went back and forth between us for a year. Why would I go back to that? Why would I expect him to change? Why would I expect her to change? I moved from where I was near the Bronx, and I moved to Brooklyn. I got myself together and I moved to Brooklyn for college. I got my own apartment, I moved out, and I just let go. A month and a half after that situation, I get a call from a correctional facility. And it's him. It's Stranger.
Important message from GTL about calls from an offender at a correctional facility. Para escuchar este mensaje en español, oprima el número 1. An offender at a correctional facility attempted to make a collect call to this number, but the call could not be completed due to billing restrictions.
What someone gives you can be taken away. And if you love yourself, and if you're happy with yourself, no one can take away the love that you have for yourself. But if you're depending on someone giving you happiness, giving you love, and they take that away, you're lost. And I guess the most important part of me losing myself in him was the road to finding myself again. I became such a beautiful, independent person because I depended on him so much. And I learned to trust myself and to be confident with myself and my decisions. And it inspired me to move on and realize that just because he did me wrong doesn't mean that I was wrong. Just because he didn't know how to love me, and just because he didn't love me doesn't mean that I'm not lovable or that I wasn't a queen because he couldn't see my crown. So I guess I learned my self-worth, because not everyone's going to know that, but that doesn't mean you don't know how much you're worth and what you bring to the table. And that sometimes you just have to let people go so you can hold on to yourself, and that's okay. So hope my story wasn't too long, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye.